Well, sir, our scene is a peaceful one as we enter the small house halfway up the next block now. Mr. and Mrs. Victor Gook and their son, Rush Gook, are spending a quiet evening at home. We find Vic established at the library table playing solitaire, Sade darning gentleman's socks on the davenport, and Rush reading a storybook in the easy chair. And now a considerable silence is broken.
Oh, darn it.
What's the trouble, Dr. Sleech?
I just thought of something.
Don't tell me you left your lighted cigar on the highly polished surface of my dresser.
I was positive I had money matters between Ruthie and me all straightened out. Some stuff popped in my head just now that throws my calculations all out of kilter. Willie.
Uh-huh.
You're not busy. Skip out in the dining room and get me my pocketbook out of the top drawer of the buffet.
Okay. By George, this is an interesting story I'm reading.
What is it?
Third Lieutenant Clinton Stanley among the counterfeit and left-handed natives of the Orange Sea, or how pluck and honesty won love, fame, and fortune. Where I'm reading now, it tells about how Third Lieutenant Stanley faced death by drowning and escaped through a secret tunnel.
Hop along after my pocketbook, Sonny.
Oh.
Darn it.
You said that.
No, but it makes a person tired. This trip I was bound and determined I'd keep track of my money. Kept a strict record in my head of exactly what I started out with, exactly what I spent, and exactly what I ended up with. But sitting here just now, a couple items popped in my noodle, and I'm confused as a horse.
I expect you're talking about a shopping expedition with Ruthie.
Yeah, you know how we always do.
Get confused.
Lend each other cash during the course of the afternoon. Make purchases for each other. Buy articles for each other with the understanding the money is to be paid back later, and all this and that till we finally wind up without any notion of where we stand. But today I made a special effort to keep track. I kept tab on every single... Thanks, Willie.
Gov want me to read you some exciting junk from my book?
I want to talk to Gov a minute. You got a pencil there handy?
You're darn right. I told her what was what that time. Hey, Dog Harness?
Well, take your pencil and a piece of paper and let's itemize this business step by step.
You know, of course, you interrupted my game of solitaire.
According to my figures, when I got home this afternoon, Ruthie and I come out exactly even. I owed her nothing. She owed me nothing. But there's a monkey wrench in the machinery someplace. Let's track down the difficulty.
Didn't we go through all this same sort of thing before and end up more in the dark than when we started?
Yeah, but today I kept tabs. Should be very...
You bought a nice shirt and Ruthie paid for it. You and Ruthie each bought... You lent Ruthie a dime and Ruthie paid back a nickel of it. Ruthie got weighed on the weighing machine. The stranger paid pound a penny.
Yeah, it is generally that mixed up. Kept tabs. All right, on $4.67.
Okay.
$4.67 represents the amount of money I had in my pocketbook when I locked the house this afternoon and headed for downtown.
$4.67.
I have in my pocketbook now $1.14.
$1.14.
I'll count it again to make sure.
Gov, what does the word grandiloquent mean?
Horse.
You don't know, huh?
It means horse. Grandiloquent is derived from the Greek root grandma and the Portuguese idiom yobo fickle seep. Or, in English, I am ill in my tent. Combining the two...
All right, $1.14.
$1.14.
Subtract that from $4.67. The result will be exactly what I spent while I was with Ruthie. Now we'll know where we stand.
Ma'am, what does grandiloquent mean?
I'm busy, Willie.
The whole sense of the sentence I'm reading depends on this one word.
That's nice. You got that all subtracted accurate?
Got it all subtracted accurate.
What's the remainder?
$3.53.
Fine.
Yes, sir.
$3.53 represents the exact sum I spent while I was with Ruthie. Now, write down penny.
Penny.
Each of us bought a stick of gum in at the drugstore on the way downtown. We were on Market Street there, and we...
What's the matter?
Hey.
Huh?
Transaction took place in that darn drugstore I never kept a record of in my noodle. Ruthie bumped into Fred's boss's wife and paid her back a quarter she owed her, but only had a nickel and a dime in change, and I furnished the extra 10 cents.
Very well. So far, Ruthie's in debt to you.
Wait. That's all right. That's perfectly all right. She handed me back my 10 cents there in Kleeberger's. Or did she?
I really wouldn't be in a position to throw any considerable light on the subject, not having been present.
She handed me 10 cents, all right, but did that 10 cents represent the 10 cents she owed me from the drugstore transaction? Or the 10 cents she borrowed in at Hamilton's when we... No, because we were in Kleberger's before we were in Hamilton's. Let me think a minute.
Go ahead.
Darn it.
Yeah.
Let me think a minute.
Gov,
Hey.
Third Lieutenant Stanley is bound and gagged. Can't move his legs. Can't move his arms. All he can do is flex his muscles. What do you think he does?
Buys a ticket for Dubuque, Iowa.
He gets Lady Margaret to put a bullet on his arm. Then he flexes his arm muscle real quick, and that bullet shoots across the river and kills a counterfeit and left-handed native of the Orange Sea. And then, by George, he
All
goes to
right,
work.
Vic, I got it all straight in my noodle. You wrote down penny.
Certainly did.
Write down dime.
Dime.
I spent a dime in at Empson's for shoelaces. Empson's was the second place we stopped at. Third place we stopped at was Kleberger's. Ruthie bought garters for Fred. She paid for 'em out of her own pocketbook, and there wasn't any other transaction.
I seem to recollect you saying a moment ago Ruthie paid you 10 cents in at Kleberger's.
Well, she did, but we don't have to bother with that. See, it all cancels out correct. She borrowed the 10 cents in at the drugstore and paid me back in at Kleberger's. It cancels out in apple pie order. Now, the Hamiltons. Here's where we're going to find the monkey wrench in the machinery. Write down $1.
$1.
Gov, did you ever hear of anybody so strong they could lift a gunny sack full of gold? And
We're
at the
occupied here. Will he save that till later?
Oh.
Write down $1.
I've already done so.
$1 represents what I paid for my wash rags. Write down 3 cents and market money I owe Ruthie. Because I bought a package of hairpins. Oh, wait a minute. I better keep this in order. I bought thread before I bought hairpins. I bought a spool of white thread number 50, price 5 cents. Hey, Ruthie's got that thread.
Is she?
Sure she has. I made my purchase, and while the clerk was wrapping it up, I stepped over to say hello to Miss Wilton there in the underwear, and Ruthie stayed to get my thread and put it in her pocketbook and forgot to give it back. Well, that don't need to change our figures, though. She will give it back. All right, now. I bought 15 cents worth of candy for Ruthie, and Ruthie bought a 25-cent box of fancy-headed pins for me.
Oh, Sandy, kiddo. When you girls go shopping, why don't you keep your purchases separate? No wonder you get yourselves in the labyrinth of high finance and
Well, the candy and pins is simple. I got a record of it tucked away in my noodle. Here's what happened. I run up to the 4th floor in Hamilton's to look at dress material. Ruthie stayed downstairs. While she was looking over the stuff at the different counters, she found these pretty boxes of fancy-headed pins on sale and bought some for herself and me, too. Well, a little later on... Oh, say, Miss Kreider...
What about her?
She enters the picture at this point. She bumped into Ruthie while I was on the 4th floor and asked her to contribute to some church business or other. Ruthie give her a quarter for the two of us. Makes me owe Ruthie 12.5 cents, see?
Oh,
Sure. Well, when I got back downstairs, Ruthie told me about the contribution, and I dug in my purse after what I owed her, but only had 9 cents in change. So what's 9 from 12.5? 3?
3.5.
Well, ish on the half. We can forget the half.
Let's do.
Now, where were we?
I haven't the slightest idea.
Oh, the candy. I bought Ruthie 15 cents worth of candy, and she paid me right off the bat. Paid me 16 cents.
Why'd she do that?
Let's see, why did she? She gave me an extra penny. What was that extra penny for?
Maybe to send some deserving boy to college.
I don't know. I don't know where I stand. Maybe Ruthie owes me money. Maybe I owe Ruthie money. I don't know. It's all a rotten muddle. Darn it. Brush. Wipe off your face. Chocolate or something on your chin. Darn it.
Which concludes another brief interlude at the small house halfway up in the next block.